Continental Free Trade Area, climate and trade negotiations dominate at United Nations Economic Committee for Africa side event of ministers. Congo's leading opposition presidential candidate, Guy Colales, dies. Government takes concerted moves to increase access to safe water for Nigerians. Citizens' aspirations and strengthening democratic process with impactful reforms, focus of ongoing constitution review process. And the news in full. Former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Dimoji Bankole, has formally defected to the All Progressives Congress. Also joining the governing party is former Governor of Ogun State and Director General of Atiku Presidential Campaign Organization for the 2019 general elections, Gbenga Daniel. Chairman APC Kataka and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee and Governor of Yobe State, Mai Mala Bunir, presented the two members of the party to President Muhammadu Buhari. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the details.
The defection of the two prominent politicians from Nigeria's southwest into the governing APC is in furtherance of efforts by the Mai Mala Buni-led caretaker committee to bolster the governing party ahead of the next general elections. Former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Dimeji Bankole, and former Governor of Ogun State, Gbenga Daniel, are here to formally affirm their allegiance to the APC, as well as loyalty and support to President Muhammadu Buhari and indeed the federal government. They were accompanied to the State House by the Chairman, Progressives Governors Forum, and Governor of Kebbi State, Atiku Bagudu, and his Jigawa State counterpart, Badaru Abubakar.
Why APC? I do not think that there are too many options that we have in our country. One thing that is for sure is that the entire world is going through challenges. There are global challenges, economic challenges, health challenges. And when you are in a situation like this, as I've usually opined, we should do less of partisan contestation. All of us must come together to support whoever is in power. And what we have decided to do is to come and give our support to the president so that jointly we can continuously navigate the country. That is what it's all about.
Any reasonable human being should realize that the leadership of this country needs everyone's support at this moment. These are critical times, and we shouldn't be found wanting. This is the time to step up and support so that these decisions can be taken, executed, and owned by us as a nation. Because 10 years from now, 20 years from now, people will ask who stood up when these things were happening. It's every citizen's right, and all we've done is exercise it today. But our actions from now will speak for us.
The Chairman, Caretaker, and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee of the APC, Mai Mala Buni, attributed the courageous decisions taken by the Southwest political bigwigs, driven by principles, to demonstration of confidence in the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari.
That shows the leadership of Mr. President is being appreciated and what he's doing to the country. And that's why leaders of such caliber are joining the party at this critical time. We are registering and revalidating our membership, and they feel this is the right time for them to join us. And Mr. President is very happy, he's pleased, he's impressed.
Governor Mai Mala Buni assured them of all the rights and privileges the governing party can offer its members. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari expresses sadness over the fire in Katsina Central Market Monday morning, which destroyed hundreds of shops and billions of naira worth of goods. He described the destruction by the fire as horrific, and his thoughts goes to those who lost their valued wares and, in some of the cases, entire savings. The president said he has instructed concerned authorities to provide all possible assistance urgently. Africa's position on climate and trade negotiations should aim at strengthening its commitment to climate change action and should make clear that economic transformation is the main channel, while trade plays a decisive role. This was experts' position at the United Nations Economic Committee for Africa Side event on ministers meeting with the theme Building Back Better Through Greening the AFCFTA. Haman Jabani reports.
The expert expressed his view at a webinar aimed at finding answers to questions which include what role trade can play in mitigating and adapting to climate change in Africa, what action is required by African policymakers and businesses for African countries to enhance the AFCFTA to ensure greener agenda, and how the AFCFTA can be utilized to develop a common African position on trade and climate change to help secure the continent trade and climate interests in other forums and multilateral levels. Presentation on the Trade and Climate Nexus in Africa by Maximiliano Mendes, Senior Research Fellow at Overseas Development Institute, and other speakers explained that a 2-degree rise in global temperature, a fall in African GDP of 1.6%, and greening the AFCFTA, adding that there are opportunities that include environmental goodies and services and diffusion of climate technologies, but can change international trade pattern and regional economic structure.
And it's potentially something that the AFCFTA can start looking into what are the sort of regional value chains that can be developed within with these resources. It could be the production of batteries, whatever. I mean, it's a thing that is important.
They all agree that the AFCFTA will increase substantially the intra-African trade and will increase total export by 1.2%, while output will expand by 0.6% if government at all levels can enforce standard and proactive policies adopted. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
Now, votes was in disarray when Congolese heard that the leading opposition presidential candidate, Guy Brice Colales, had died after being diagnosed with COVID-19. Uche Ugochukwu reports on the political situation in the Republic of Congo.
His campaign manager, Christian Mayanda, told the AFP news agency that he died in the medical aircraft which came to get him from Brazzaville on Sunday afternoon. The Congolese opposition candidate, Guy Brice Colales, died the day after presidential elections in which he was the main challenger. He came second to Sassou Nguesso in the previous elections in 2016, picking up 15% according to the official results. The 61-year-old Colales was the only serious contender to the president left on Sunday after a string of boycotts, withdrawn candidacies and exclusions. Reports says Colales had dreamt of replacing the country's longtime leader, Sassou Nguesso, who had forced his father, Bernard Colales, to flee. Nicknamed Paco, he was the fourth of 12 children. He studied economics in France and afterwards taught in French universities. His campaign manager said they will continue to count the ballots, adding that he was ahead in a number of places. Although provisional election results are not expected for days, Sassou Nguesso is widely predicted to be the winner. The Congolese president has had a referendum whipped through in 2015 that gave him 3 more terms of 5 years each, which means that he has 10 more years to go. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
And on the health scene, Rwanda confirms UK and South Africa variants of coronavirus, just as the European Union imposed sanctions on the Eritrean government's National Security Office. These are more with Uche Ugochukwu on the Global Update.
Mauritius began using the Indian-made Covaxin vaccine after running out of its 100,000 doses of Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, although it has not been approved by the World Health Organization. Meanwhile, Rwanda has confirmed the presence of new variants of COVID-19 virus first identified in the UK and South Africa. The country's health minister said 10 cases of the South African variant and 2 of the UK were identified last week. Now, the world's deaths from COVID-19 have crossed 2.7 million out of the near 124 million confirmed cases, with Nigeria accounting for 161,737 positive infections, having recorded 86 new cases Sunday. Away from COVID-19, the European Union has imposed sanctions on the Eritrean government's National Security Office for alleged human rights violations. The EU did not give details of the nature of sanctions that will be imposed or why now. Elsewhere, world powers in a joint statement have called on Somalia's political leaders to show leadership by reaching agreement on delayed elections due to squabbling over voting process. And areas of Australia that have seen worst flooding in decades are bracing for more heavy rainfall, with the peak expected on Tuesday. The entire coast of New South Wales has been put on alert, the armed forces and hundreds of volunteers deployed. That does it from here. I am Uche Ugochukwu.
Chairman of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa, says Nigeria has taken delivery of 300,000 doses of Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine against COVID-19. He made the disclosure at the task force briefing in Abuja. He appealed to Nigerians not to lower the guard as the country records low cases lately. PTF chairman urged religious leaders to mobilize adherents to get vaccinated against COVID-19 as efforts are on top gear to reopen Kano, Port Harcourt and Enugu international airports. The chairman said provision of personal protective equipment for effective management of the pandemic is being sustained, emphasizing that Nigerians should make use of Med-app established by NAFDAC to report any adverse effects of the vaccine, even as more molecular laboratories are being established nationwide.
This is the right time to adhere to the full compliance of the non-pharmaceutical interventions and also get vaccinated. Although situations around the world now show some increase in cases, especially in the Americas, Europe and East Mediterranean regions, hopes such as that there could be a third wave further affirms that non-compliance with the COVID-19 regulations and growing evidence of vaccine hesitancy could endanger.
And on the economic front, as part of efforts towards economic recovery and sustainable growth, Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, in collaboration with international partners and the Bank of Industry, has concluded a $1 billion syndicated term loan to further support small and medium-scale enterprises in the country. Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Adeniyi Adebayo, disclosed thus at a capacity building training in Abuja. Benny Adams was there.
When talking about empowerment, money is said not to be enough, and that utilizing resources require capacity. And that is why Felicia Oladapo and Queen Ugede are developing their skills, which is a condition for accessing funds provided by the federal government under the MSME Survival Fund program.
Such opportunities that, you could access with little or no collateral at all.
Not exposed to such program, we realize that we'll just be struggling.
Not develop the human resource that we already have, the talents that we already have. Then we will not have enough MSMEs to then employ every other person. Our education system has to be retuned and has to be retaught so that it's fit for purpose.
With capacity of beneficiaries being enhanced, financial institutions are also being assisted to effectively support micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises across key sectors of the Nigerian economy, with affordable loans of medium to long-term tenure alongside moratorium benefits.
Government will continue to provide funding for MSMEs because government recognizes the fact that the major employer of labor in Nigeria today are these MSMEs. I think we're looking at about over 70% of the labor force is employed by MSMEs.
The minister said government is working to establish an SME risk rating agency that will determine eligibility of SMEs to access credit. The Survival Fund is estimated to save at least 1.3 million jobs across the country, while strengthening the growth potential of beneficiary businesses. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
Watching the news on NTA International from Abuja. We take a break now and be right back.
Are you sure this will work? Pastor, I can't miss these guys in trouble. Just keep your phone on so I can listen.
Today we're going to be discussing sleep disorder. What is the medical term for sleepwalking?
Sonambulism.
Correct.
Get free Intel to Intel calls and experience HD quality conversations every time. Intel. Live more.
You're welcome back. It's World Water Day, and the paradoxical narrative of lacking in the midst of plenty resonates as governments strive to increase access to safe water for Nigerians. Musbaudan Wahab reports as Nigeria joins the world to commemorate Water Day around the theme, Valuing Water.
Again, a special occasion has played up an open secret of shortage in access to water around the world. And in Nigeria, the case is of irony, with the large deposit of these natural resources harnessing it for domestic and industrial use has led to economic scarcity of a commodity, with 60 million of the entire population lacking access to safe water. But while some now take it for granted, for others, water is still literally gold needed to be mined. With the thirsty mouths on the increase in the country, climate change leading to water stress, experts say the distance to access to water is becoming farther than ever. All of these issues are part of this report by UNESCO submitted to the Water Resources Minister Suleiman Adamu, who said various programs including Wash Action Plan, P-Wash and the Clean Up Nigeria campaign were all designed to support the sub-national governments towards ensuring water for all. But as it is, the ball seems to be largely in the court of the sub-national governments that the minister says has a primary responsibility to provide potable water for the people.
We are no longer just putting our money on equality of states or federal character or whatever. No, the state that is investing its money properly, is planning properly and has shown commitment to water, sanitation and hygiene. Those are the states that government will support. So there will no longer be free money from the federal government. I think the president made that very, very clear in 2018, and we are going by that.
Now, with the 2030 SDGs target fast approaching, development partners too say water must be given more priority.
The government needs to step up now, commit to reductions and recognize the critical role clean water has in helping communities cope with climate change and recovering quickly from related extreme weather events.
Valuing water, the theme for this year's World Water Day commemoration, takes the issues beyond pricing concerns to include environmental, social and cultural value people place on water. In Abuja, Musbau and Wahab, NTA News.
And joining me in the studio to talk more on World Water Day 2021 is the Director, Water Resources, Planning and Technical Support Services, Mrs. Alice Ojowu. Mrs. Ojowu, you're welcome to NTA International.
Thank you very much.
Now let's begin with a look at the theme of this year's celebration, Value of Water. What do you make of it?
Thank you very much. The theme for this year is a very special one, Valuing Water. And it's not only for pricing of the water, but what are the various uses of water? We have the value for water, for agriculture, for transportation, for industry, for water supply and sanitation. You value water, you can value water in different ways, the way you understand it. The what I want is different from what you want for the use of water. Drinking of water can be your own priority, while others, for their industrial production, like those in the industry, like the Coca-Cola, that use large volume of water. The value attach a lot of importance to water. Like today, they were with us, they collaborated with us to mark the 2021 World Water Day. Also, not only them, we have other stakeholders like Fight Against Hunger, they were with us. They also came to tell the world the value of water. Who you are and where you are, you need water. Every human being has a right for water.
Now that we are battling with COVID-19, how do you look at the role of water?
Well, we are battling with COVID-19, and you know, for us to curtail COVID-19, we need water. And the ministry is doing a lot of activities to ensure that we curtail the COVID-19. Last year, 2020, we had a team for World Water Day, which was water and climate change. That was where the Honorable Minister of Water Resources, Engineer Suleiman Adamu, kickstart with the advocacy of what it is for one to live in a clean environment, and we kickstart by creating awareness of the need for every household, whether you are in the city or whether you are in local government or state, that you need water to wash your hand with soap and water.
What are the challenges facing the world, especially Nigerians, in having water?
Well, the challenges, they are so numerous. The challenges that we are facing right now is investment. A lot of people don't really come for investing into water. And the allocation by the government cannot really be able to make Nigeria to be 100% have access to potable water by 2030. Yeah. We need the intervention of private sector to come to our aid. What the federal government is doing is an intervention. Every person, both at the federal level, at the state level, at the local government, as well as the communities, everybody has a role to ensure that we have this basic need for all our needs in this country. But the allocation is just not enough. So the ministry
what interventions are ongoing now to surmount the challenges?
Well, the intervention area that the Honorable Minister has put in place is the program for partnership, like PWASH, where the federal government is coming with its own intervention amount, and now it's charging the states to also bring the matching fund. So take for instance, if we have in the local government, we identify a local government, we are supposed to have about 30 or 40 water pumps. The federal government will now provide for 20, while the state will provide for 20. So the essence is that we want everybody to be on board to ensure that we have this basic need.
Thank you very much. Many thanks, Mrs. Alice Ojowo, for coming on News on NTA International.
Thank you very much.
And that's it. Now we bring you sports updates by Tamara Ibiwe.
Welcome to Sports Update. The Lagos camp of Nigeria Super Eagles bubbles as some invited players begin to arrive ahead of Saturday's 2021 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against Benin Republic. Slated for Porto Novo before the clash against Lesotho on Tuesday at the Teslim Balogun Stadium, Lagos. Captain Ahmed Musa, Williams Troost Ekong, Olaina, and Henry Onyekuru herald some of the early callers to camp, with the rest expected to arrive on or before Tuesday. Nigeria lead Group L with 8 points after 4 matches. Staying with football, the 38th edition of the Under-16 Boys Ramat Cup football tournament, organized by Youth Sports Federation of Nigeria (YouSFON), continues with hosts beating Zamfara 4-0 on day 2. In other fixtures, Kwara beat Kaduna 3-2, Bauchi beat Lagos 3-0, while Oyo trashed Ekiti 8-0. 18 teams are participating in the annual tournament designed in honor of former late head of state, General Murtala Ramat Mohammed.
We are very impressed with the ages the state brought this time around. We have very, very few, less than 30 that we are screened out. That's the overage. So if not, no, there are no challenges.
And finally, Team Nigeria finished 10th out of 62 countries that took part in the just-ended World Para-Athletics Grand Prix in Tunisia, winning 5 gold, 3 silver, and 4 bronze medals. Nigeria's laurels came largely from T46 and 47 races, discus throws, long jump, shot put, as well as javelin events. The week-long Grand Prix in Tunis was part of qualifiers to Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games. And that's Sports Update. I am Tamara Ebiwe.
And next is weather prospects for Monday. And that was Tuesday's weather prospects, and that's the news. On behalf of the sign language interpreter, Grace Elori, I'm Nancy Godiangunihu, thanking you for watching, reminding you to support the NTA and the campaign against rape and rapists.